G'day fellas and welcome to a casted game. We are here on the brand new expansion for Age of Empires 4 and boy oh boy are we in for a treat today. Spawning in on the east side of the map in the colour blue, playing as the Byzantines, we've got Puppy Paw. And on the west side of the map in the colour yellow, playing as Juicy's Legacy, it's Beastie. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We're here on Golden Pit. This place has got lots of gold in the middle and even more, well, not really, a little bit of gold on the outside. I was going to say, you know what, it should have been, this place has got gold on the outside and even more gold in the middle. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. This is a famous map from Age of Empires 2 and a lovely map to see finally added to Age of Empires 4. I'm incredibly excited to be able to cast on it. And of course, I should also mention that this is part of Fitzbro's show match that he's hosted called the Sultanate Smackdown. Now take a look at what we've got here. We have got something unique, something I've not seen before, something that has been somewhat inspired by Beastie's Season 5 English playstyle. We've got ourselves an olive grove in the Dark Age. This is going to start off early on in this game, the extra olive oil coming through. Of course, on top of that, you've also got the infinite food that's coming in, which helps out a huge amount. But I'm curious to see exactly how this unfolds for Puppy, because quite often you do look to see early berries taken as the Byzantines to try and get access to those mercenaries a little bit sooner. But this is something unique that I have not seen. A spin on the Byzantines I've not yet witnessed, but we can see you only have to take 10 off the cherry tree here. Let's ride on board over with Beastie and see how he's doing, because it looks like we've got a pretty standard opening coming through from him. Gonna go up to 4 villages on gold. Okay, never mind. He's fixed up the rally point, and it looks like a pretty standard opening from him here. Has managed to just eat all sheep for the beginning of this game, so opening up with a 7 and a 3. Gonna be looking ahead into that Song dynasty early on. Now, keep in mind that even though this is a show match, and even though these two players are arguably, not arguably, objectively, some of the best players in the world, we still may see mistakes. We still may see inefficiencies, and that's perfectly okay, because these two players are still feeling out these civilizations. They've had less than a week with them at the moment, so they just want to make sure that, you know, they get it right. But have a look at this already. We've got 2 villagers throwing down the Grand Winery, and to me that indicates that Puppy Paw is thinking about going for a second TC. Just because normally if you're going to drop down the landmark, you want to be dropping it down with normally 4 to 5 villagers. And the fact that we're only seeing 2 villages, to me says, yeah, it's probably going to be a second town center. And I'm curious to see exactly how Beastie looks to play this, because playing as the Juicy's Legacy here, it becomes very dependent on spawn. And have a look at the spawn that he has got here for the Meditation Gardens. This is part of the reason why I think this landmark in particular is broken, because it does come down to RNG. This landmark is picking up 30 gold, 30 stone, 48 food, and I'm not sure how much wood that is. I'm going to guess about 33 wood. That's a decent amount of resources you're talking. You're talking 150 plus resources there. That's almost 4 villages this early on in the game. That's a massive amount of villages this early on. This landmark is, in my opinion, S tier, S plus tier. And, well, it just goes to show. I'm looking forward to seeing how powerful this is, and how strong, or how Beastie's able to wield this civilization, the Juicy's Legacy, because at the moment, it's my opinion that Juicy's Legacy is very, very strong. Let's have a look and see Beastie's timing here. It looks like he's gathered up plenty of resources, more than enough to go up for that Song dynasty. Keep in mind that with the Song dynasty, there has been a little bit of a change for Juicy's Legacy, and there's that landmark going down in the back of the base. 4 villages on it at the moment. Actually, take that back. It's going to be 6 with the Jiangnan Tower coming down now. Does he look to go into stone? We'll have a look and see what his opening is like, but I would expect he thinks about going into a second TC here as well. You can afford to as Juicy's Legacy, just simply because you can play the early game very, very easily. And all right, let's have a look. What do we got here? 7, 7, 7, 12. Yeah, so it's going to be about 30 wood per minute. So you're talking about a total of about 130 to 140 resources per minute coming in from this landmark. Absolutely ridiculous. Remember that it doesn't get a bonus from the sheep, it doesn't get a bonus from deer or boar, but it does get a bonus from the berry. Look at that timing. 4 minutes and 30 on the Song dynasty. Not a bad little timing there. And now Beastie rushing up the village because it's got that discounted cost. Where are we? We're over here. 75 wood now. And the age up comes through on the other side of the map. And indeed, it does look like it's going to be a second TC coming through for Puppy Paw here pretty early on as well for this second TC. He's got a nice little spot for it down here on the south side. Alternative is that he goes in the back here, but there's only 5 deer. And keep in mind, he will be looking early on to add in more and more olive groves. So perhaps he doesn't go down that route. I'd be much more tempted to just... I think the best thing that you could probably do is throw down the town center on this gold, lure the boar in, throw a wall down to defend yourself, and you're just chef's kiss. You're absolutely fine. So definitely the right call here from Puppy Paw to be doing this. Now, before we move on into this game, I would just say, of course, I mentioned it earlier, that this is part of Fitzbro's tournament. Well, not tournament, but show match, the Sultan Smackdown. If you haven't already, make sure you check out Fitzbro. I'm going to leave a link in the description to this video where you can watch him over on YouTube. He's a fellow content creator and a very good friend of mine and a wonderful caster. I would have loved to have casted these live with him, but as you guys know, I've got two little boys now, and well, let's just put it this way. I barely am able to string together 3 hours of sleep a night, and so I really don't get an opportunity to do much outside of 20 minutes here or 30 minutes here, or however long this game's going to take us. Because I can already tell you right now, my wife is upstairs going, "Where is that man? Bring him up here. I'm feeding 16 babies." Not really 16 babies, there's 2, but, you know, sometimes the way that they scream, it makes you think there's 16 of them. But a very passive opening here early on between these two players. And I'm curious to see exactly how it develops for Beastie, because he's gone into the Horseman and going to be looking to clear out the Scout. And I think that's a pretty smart move, because it just tells your opponent, you know, if they've got the Scout, it allows them just to keep up with exactly what you're doing, whereas now all of a sudden you've got no idea. So Beastie could be thinking, maybe I want to go for a 3rd TC here. And that would definitely be a wise choice playing as Juicy's Legacy, just because your town centers are cheaper. And with the town center coming down on the stone, I would be almost certain, and the supervisor, Imperial official supervising, I'd be almost certain right now that Beastie is going to indeed go for that 3rd town center. So definitely the right call here. And I guess part of that reason is because of how far away you are from your opponent. So take a look at not only the fact that we're on opposite sides of the map. Oh, excuse me, a little bit of a weird sound right there. We're not only just on the opposite side of the map, but we're pretty far away from each other, right? We're pretty much on the edge of this. Definitely a lot further towards the back side of the map than, say, something like Dry Arabia, where you might spawn, say, somewhere around here-ish. So there's a little bit of distance going on, and remember, that's twofold, because your enemy is also going to be spawning a little bit further back as well. So it just gives you that little bit of extra safety net, and players naturally are going to be feeling a-okay playing an opening like that. But now, looks like we're going to have our first Mercenary House contract signed, and it's going to be the Eastern Mercenary contract, looking for those Keshiks. Now, I'm a big fan of Keshiks coming here for the Byzantines. They synergize very well with your Hippodrome if that's the route that you go for, but it's going to be the Grand Winery today coming out from Puppy Paw. And for me, this landmark, I mean, I've talked about it a little bit. I'm not a fan of this landmark. I think this landmark is a reasonable landmark to take in some circumstances, but almost all circumstances, the Hippodrome is just far superior. And I'm curious to see exactly what Puppy Paw is going to be able to do with it here today. I guess realistically, it does offer you a little bit of... to be honest, this is a landmark that does kind of offer you something for every point of the game. So early game, it offers you extra olive oil from your berry bushes. In the mid game, it offers you the ability to train monks. And in the late game, it guarantees that you've got an extra 200 or so olive oil coming in every minute, which isn't too bad. That's a pretty decent amount of olive oil. So I guess it does really offer you something all game. I guess when you compare to the Hippodrome, it does also offer you something all game. That's the other thing to note, but there's just different styles. Boar taken in the north. Looks like Beastie should be able, indeed he gets it through with no losses here. We see the outpost coming down next to the town center as well. I love this addition, just to guarantee that if he does get pushed up here with a couple of cavalry units, he's going to be able to store those villagers in. I guess the alternative here was that he could have looked to have gone into the village, and then that way he can keep a couple of extra villagers up here, but take a look at this. The wall's starting to come up now. Ooh, we've got a problem. It is... Oh, gosh. Can you see that? That is so hard to see right there because it looks like it's connected. You would think that this is absolutely fine, but there is a little bit of a hole in that wall there. So hopefully Beastie realizes that that could be exploited a little bit later on in this game. Upgrade starting to come through. Wheelbarrow coming through at the moment for Puppy Paw. Beastie with the horticulture upgrade. So both players focusing on their economies at this stage. And it looks like Beastie going to be pushing towards that castle age. And look at this big wall coming in here. Does Beastie sense danger? Indeed he does. It's the Keshiks. It's the fact that there's double Keshiks coming out as well. So he's going for the 2x2 here. And he just wants to rush this wall up as quickly as he can. He doesn't want any Keshiks getting behind here, because then he's going to have to deal with chasing them around, and realistically it's going to be tough. Now he's got another option. He could have looked to wall over towards this angle here, but he's going to play it a little bit greedy. I don't like this. I think the safer option could have been the right call here. Oh, this isn't good. This isn't good. Beastie's got a villager outside the wall. Looks like he might be able to get the run along on, so he should be fine here. Hold on. Hold your... Oh, no, 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 no. That's absolutely terrible right there for Beastie. Puppy Paw gets behind. Oh, that's actually so bad. But it says that it's got the health on it, though, so I don't know how he managed to get through that. First villager goes down. Second villager going to be taken out as well, and there's going to be a third one that goes down here. Up towards that north side of the map. It looks like the Keshiks are chasing away those horsemen. I say chasing away, but it's not really chasing away. It's more like chasing from. Age Up now coming through as well. It's going to be the Golden Horn Tower here for Puppy Paw. Let's see if we can find it. It's down on the south side here. He does have the influence of the system there, so we'll be getting that extra bonus speed, bonus train rate, I guess you could say. A little bit more resources coming in every second. Very, very nice to have, but ideally you want to be pushing that up to System level 5. You want to be trying to get that as soon as you possibly can. So hopefully Puppy Paw prioritizes that, because that is very, very important. Towards Beastie's base, though. Spearman. Beautiful micro coming in here from Puppy Paw, just pulling back these Keshiks right at the last second. Unfortunately, Beastie paying attention and says, oi, not going to happen. And now another villager potentially on the line as Beastie tries to get the wall off. Not going to happen here. He wanted to really play around this berry bush as well as the huntable deer here. And he definitely pays for it. 3 villagers, it might not seem like a lot, but it'll start to add up over the course of a game. 3 villagers for what? The next 10 minutes? That's a fair amount of resources. You're talking 1,200 resources at least that you're missing out on because of that, which can translate over to, 10 horsemen as an example. So pretty significant. Age Up now coming through from Beastie here. Not going to be looking to go into the Shaolin Monastery. Instead, going into the Montlu Academy. Montlu Academy is going to give him opportunities or options to move into some upgrades for his Imperial officials. Whereas the Shaolin Monastery would have given him the option to... Oh, never mind. We'll talk about that a little bit later as the Keshiks come in. One of them does go down. It's going to be a trade. A Keshik for a villager. Don't know if that's necessarily the best trade here. But the Montlu Academy, definitely a strong choice here as this Castle Age comes in. Just considering the fact that his opponent has aged up earlier and does have access to that Grand Winery, which is already producing monks. And we know that because... well, we can see that a relic has been picked up somewhere. There we go. Down on the south side. So Beastie already knows that he's behind. And he's going to have to do his best to try and fight it. He's got 1 relic secured behind enemy lines. But you can already see that Puppy Paw's camping up the relics out here. So Beastie probably making the right call. And just saying, let's focus on what we know. And that is we've got Imperial officials. Upgrades starting to come through here. Single whip reform. Slightly faster Imperial officials. I say slightly faster. 50% is pretty quick. Looks like Keshiks gonna need a little bit more than 50 movement speed if they want to get out of this one alive. Spear's able to clean out the first one. Second one comes in. Oh, little bit. He could probably just jump in the TC at this point and just kill it with arrows. But for the moment, Keshik lives on a little bit longer. Now those Imperial official upgrades have come in. Let's check and see if we can spot an Imperial official running around. There you go. Look at the movement speed on that. 1.69. Very, very nice. These guys don't mess around. Also looking to get additional upgrades. Looking for Imperial Red Seals, which will grant him an additional 2 Imperial official slots, as well as giving him an Imperial official. A really nice upgrade there for him, and definitely something I didn't expect to see coming out this early on in the game. But 13 minutes through, we'll switch over. Now you can see the income per minute coming through for each of these players. At the moment, it looks like Puppy Paw sitting on about 2.3k, compared to Beastie, who's sitting on about 2.6, 2.7k, somewhere around that region. So a slight advantage for Beastie at the moment. It's going to be coming down to the Imperial officials, I suspect, that's going to be driving that. Now, we also start to see more expansion. Blacksmith coming in. Big walls on the south side as well. Players are gearing up for that late game. How's the farm economy doing? Not too bad, actually. Grand Winery starting to look a little bit decent down here on the south side of the map. But in the middle of the map, the relic. Beastie trying to snipe it away. Not going to be able to find it here. Starting to build up that number of spears together with the crossbows. It's just a classic combination. You really can't fault it. I expect we're going to be seeing Nested Bees coming out from him shortly as well. Just moving into a very heavy infantry composition. Really just one of everything. He's got the Jugunus, the crossbows, the spearmen, the palace guards. And up towards the north. Looks like the Varangian guards coming out into the field here. He's trying his best to stop this relic from being picked up. But, this is part of the reason why he didn't go the route of the Shaolin Monastery, I suspect. Just simply because he knew these relics were not going to be in his favor. Horseman camping up this last relic. Spear, crossbow, pushing out. Remember, the Varangian Guard has got access to a special ability that allows them to drop their armor down, but increase their attack significantly. Keshik's on the backside. Got to be careful here. These units counter. They have the double counter right here. Spearman, crossbow. And now that monk going to be coming out looking to try and capture sacred sites, get some healing off, do whatever he can to steal out these relics. But look at the Varangian guards. All of a sudden, Puppy Paw looking very strong on the offensive here. These players have taken a while to get up to speed, but I tell you what, now that they're here, it's starting to get a little bit scary. Beastie, numbers not looking the best. He's going to have to go into a large crossbow mass. You can see the Varangian guards have pulled out that extra armor, or rather pulled out that extra damage. Crossbows behind the walls. Beastie now, 26 military population. Needs to continue that production of crossbows and needs to get that mass up to a substantial amount. Wololo, over on the east side. Horseman doing a wonderful job here and just delaying this relic from being picked up. You can actually see Puppy Paw is holding 4 of the relics at the moment. He's got 2 in the bag, 2 he's holding on to, and we'll be looking to put them away. And now the Siege Workshop going to be rushed up, and you can see he's already supervising it with the Imperial official. Wants to try and get that nest of bees out, but now the Varangian guard on the front line going to be looking to hold on against the spears. Keep in mind that the crossbows don't effectively counter the enemy spearmen. So the spearmen arguably are better in this situation than the Varangian guard, because the Varangian guard, similar to men-at-arms, are heavy units and get countered by enemy crossbows. So when you're going for this combination, just running the spears can be a really smart decision. We hear a couple of deletes coming through behind the walls as well. I suspect he's going to be, yep, he's looking for it right now. So this is essentially what happens. You're looking to transition over to your farming economy. You need to make sure that you clear out plenty of room here. I wouldn't even be surprised if the village gets the delete. Keep in mind that with this transition to farms, Beastie is paying... He has the cheapest farms in the game, cheaper than the English. Let me explain. These farms have had their costs reduced from 75 down to 45 because of Song Dynasty. We know he's in Song Dynasty. But on top of that, his wood gathering is significantly greater than other civilizations because he gets the extra 20% from the Imperial official. And remember that is a multiplicative bonus rather than an additive bonus. So he's getting the full bonus from all of his upgrades. So you can see he's already got double broadaxe. He's got his lumber preservation technology, and then he's getting 20% on top of that. And that's why these farms are so cheap. It's because his wood is worth a lot less than other, or I guess you could say it's worth a lot more. No, it's worth a lot less than other civilizations. Keep coming down in the middle of the map. Nice little position here at the moment for Beastie. Sacred site captured in the east. Good luck capturing the one in the west. I tell you what, that's going to be a tough cookie to crumble right there. Wall under pressure. Whole bunch of idols. Beastie going to be looking to contest this keep. If you get this keep down, all of a sudden you're going to be in a bit of trouble. Nest of bees firing off. The Varangian guard's going to say, how you doing? Immediately running to the back line. The crossbowman just going to have absolute problems here. Nest of bees managed to get a couple of shots off, but it looks like for the moment the villager's going to continue working away on that keep. Varangian guards overwhelming the crossbows and having no response here from Beastie. How does he even deal with these Varangian guards? That's an interesting question. I'm not sure. Maybe palace guards could be decent against them because... I don't even know. Maybe spearmen? I guess... Well, let's math this out just quickly. Varangian guards, a base armor of 5. That's a huge amount of melee armor. 4 ranged armor. So when they do that, they drop their armor off. But they increase their attack significantly. I think it goes up by about 8 or 9. So that means that units that have got low damage are doing a lot more damage than before. So naturally, you would think it would just make sense to have... low damage units. Maybe Zhukunu will actually be pretty decent against them. But then what happens if he just doesn't click the button? Then you're in a bit of a jiffy. A bit of a tight spot. Because your Zhukunu are going to be doing barely any damage. You can see at the moment he's got 5 armor. 6 armor's probably coming in shortly. No sign of it just yet. But, you can expect it to come through soon. Looks like our network has moved up to the 4th level now on the Cistern Aqueduct system. We've also got an extension. Have a look at the size of this one. Coming out towards the center. I just wish he'd extended this a slight bit more so that the keep would have been affected by the cistern. This is what I talked about earlier when players still haven't learned all the mechanics yet. There's a special bonus available in this cistern called Presidium. And that reduces the damage that you take on your keeps by 25% if you're at level 5. And you will be at level 5 once you connect this cistern. Problem's going to be... Keep's going to be dead by the time it happens at this rate because you're not repairing it. And, well, not only that, you don't actually get close to it. You can see right here, the influence probably only comes out to about this tile right here on the other side of the mining camp. So a bit of a tough spot. Up towards the north, Keshiks working their way through the palisade wall. Gonna try and break through. There's plenty of routes they can look to run on that backside. Beastie's got a beautiful... Oh my god. That's a beautiful farming economy. You love to see it like that. Only the 2 granaries, though, interestingly. Hasn't opted for that 3rd one just yet. Was that an Imperial Age? That was an Imperial Age. We see the Palatine School coming down now for Puppy Paw. A very interesting landmark. A very curious landmark to be going into, if I'm honest with you. I figured this would be a good landmark in team games. I don't know if it's going to be good in 1v1. I suppose it's obviously not bad in 1v1. I just figured that the foreign trading company would have been considered a little bit better at this stage. Let's talk about this landmark. The way that this landmark works is every time you train a Cataphract, a Varangian Guard, or a Lumetanai, there is a 33% chance that you will spawn a 2nd unit at the Palatine School. So it's a bit of RNG that's involved. Not 33% chance, 30% chance. Oh, also Charusophons are in there as well. So Lumetanai, Varangian Guards, Cataphracts, and Charusophons are in there, which is the unique ram. That's kind of wild. So he's going to make sure he rallies this to the center, and I want to pay attention to it, just see how crazy it gets, because this is one of those landmarks that can really make it or break it in the late game. You know, think about it, right? If you're spamming 20 Lumetanai, and there's a 30% chance to hit it, you would think it would be, you know, 6 Lumetanai coming out, and that's a pretty decent number. But there's a good chance that could be 10. There's also a chance it could be 0. You always got to be careful when you're playing with statistics and whether you're playing with true random or not. I've played enough MMOs to know about true random and just how unforgiving it can be. Speaking of unforgiving, Beastie trying to get this keep up. It looks like Lord Doubt is going to be smiling upon it. Look at the damage that comes out. Huge military right here by Puppy Paw. 87 military population, not a single bit of siege on his side of the map. Slowly but steadily, that keep is going down, but the villagers on the backside are healing it up. Outposts coming up as well. We'll be looking to get the Mangonel in placement, and that keep, he's going to manage to get it up right now, and we're going to head into the cinematic mode as he looks to push in underneath it. It is time, baby. Let's get it on. Varangian Guard from the north going to be looking to try and clang their way to victory up against those Nest of Bees. Should be able to find it as both of them go down, and now that keep is going to be under pressure, under siege. The Mangonel in placement firing off towards the center of that battle. Plenty of units left over for Puppy Paw, as now he's going to have to deal with this opponent stuck behind a palisade wall. The keep is going to be getting great value here. Looks like villagers underneath the keep going to be repairing up. Keep in mind, Beastie's got a pretty decent villager advantage here. Probably wants to pop these inside, and definitely the right call to do that. Now the Varangian Guard going to be forced to head back towards the base. And I will just note one thing about the Varangian Guard, which is really cool. Did you know that they've got individual shields? Well, not individual shields, but there's 3 different types of shields that you can get for Varangian Guards. So if we have a look here, you'll see that you've got this kind of circle one, and then there's a teardrop one, and then there is they've got different art on them. I'm just trying to find it. There you go. All right, so what do we got here? It's hard to spot them all out. Never mind. Oh no, it's the Lumetanai. I'm thinking of the Lumetanai, not the Varangian Guard. Varangian Guards, they all look identical. We'll have a look when we see the Lumetanai, though. That's the unique spear for the Byzantines. But now Beastie in a solid position here. I love the fact that he's got the wall so close to him where he can just fall back to this. The problem's going to be the number of Varangian Guard here are really strong. And this is an interesting part of theory for Age of Empires 4 that I often talk about, and that is the crossbow paradox. The crossbow paradox states that when your crossbows are in low numbers, they lose to men-at-arms. So that's when they're in like 2 to 3 crossbows will lose to 2 to 3 men-at-arms. But once they reach a critical mass, say about 10 crossbows, where they can start one-shotting the men-at-arms, they will absolutely destroy them. The crossbow paradox comes in when you reach about 30 or so crossbows, and that's when men-at-arms actually become more efficient against the crossbows, because the crossbows have to be microed. And now all of a sudden in the late game, you're taking away a significant amount of APM from your opponent by forcing them to focus on microing their crossbows. The crossbows will win if they're microed, but if they are not microed, they will lose. And that's where the paradox comes in, because you're forced, or you're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't. If you micro, then your opponent is gaining lots of APM on you. They're going to be looking at doing split attacks and plenty of different routes of attacks on you. Have a look at this. Look at the range that we've got going on here. Whereas if they don't micro, then they'll just lose. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword. I don't know if it's necessarily a paradox. Probably not, because it does. I mean, we can explain it. But now these Nest of Bees looking to tee off. Let's get that UI back in and get an idea of where these economies are at. 20 villages, the difference between these two players, 24 minutes into this game. Beastie's walls starting to look pretty good on that north side. Stone walls in the middle, and the Temple of the Sun going to be coming up outside that keep forward position here. I don't like this. Definitely a bit dangerous. I don't know why we couldn't just put this in the back of the base. If we lose this position and lose the Temple of the Sun, that's a massive disadvantage. We'll see exactly what Beastie's plans are, but I suspect he's probably going to just be putting it on additional range. Oh, no, he lost the keep instantly. Oh, Beastie just losing 800 stone, or 900 stone rather, in a heartbeat. That bombard just shutting him down. Sit down, he says. Another keep going to be thrown up, though. Beastie just going for it straight away. Springled. Teeing off. Beastie reaches Imperial Age. We'll look to throw this onto Divine Defense, I suspect, almost immediately. He's on infantry at the moment, and look at the number of Varangian guards here. Elite upgrades have come through. These guys don't mess around. That is for sure. Let's have a look and see. Still on infantry movement speed at the moment. Definitely makes sense with the crossbows. You can see he's got that extra 15% movement speed. And now looking to try and focus down the bombard. Bombard's getting repaired, but the men-at-arms with the nest of bees just firing off, going to completely destroy it here. Let's check back in with the Palatine School, because it's something that you don't really notice and something that you can't really see. We see him rallying towards here, and you've got a Varangian guard, multiple Varangian guards that are being rallied down here. Look at, oh my god, look at this. 6 Varangian guards all coming out at the same time towards the Palatine School. That's ludicrous. No wonder he's got such a huge army. Look at the size of this thing. 45 Varangian guards on the field at the moment, a whole bunch of Gulams as well. He's looking to train more of them. Has he picked up the elite upgrade yet for his Gulams? Let's take a look and see. Indeed, he has. He's got the elite upgrade now for... Oh, God, he's got the tower elephants out. Oh, that's a bit scary. What do we do against the tower elephants? I guess we can... Maybe Grenadiers? What does Beastie even go into at this point? Grenadiers are definitely a strong call in this situation, but ideally you want to have them on walls, and you've got to be particularly careful about them because they do have a pretty long attack... Or not attack, but load animation before they fire. Now those walls coming up. Beastie looking to really play that siegey cutie role that he loves. He's got access to 2 different Chinese civilizations now that he can use in tournaments. It's going to make him extra happy, but villagers on the front line getting caught out of position. That's 14 villagers there. He's not paying attention. And now all of a sudden, roller shutter triggers coming through for Puppy Paw, looking to deal with this siege. He knows exactly how problematic it can be when Beastie gets online. Stonewall's going to fall down here. Taken out. Varangian Guard's going to be able to take the high ground if they need to. Obviously, lack the range to do so. Crossbows on the high ground. No elite upgrades coming through for them. Looks like he's moving into Grenadiers. We see 3 Grenadiers out at the moment, 18 on the field towards that north side. It looks like they're going to be starting to fight over the stone that's remaining here. And Puppy Paw losing out on that little battlefront. Slowly but steadily, Beastie pushing forward. And look at the crossbow numbers, very solid. Nice little push here. Grenadiers on the backside. Here they go, the Grenadiers. Juicy legacy. How juicy are they? We're about to find out. 8 Grenadiers firing off. Is it 8? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9 Grenadiers. I was close. I was eyeballing that bad boy right there. And now the Grenadier is going to be pushing forward. And I think at this point, you can pretty much just go 100% Grenadiers and just laugh at your opponent. It's going to be, we'll have to see how they go against the Varangian Guard. I feel like they probably still need stone walls to fall back to, because Varangian Guard are going to be very difficult to deal with the way that they surround the enemy. And look at the speed from the Grenadiers coming out now. Slowly but steadily, starting to stack up those numbers. He's got to be careful not to lose any more. Villagers going to come out. Crossbows fall to the ground. All of the Grenadiers, though, just kind of chilling out for the moment. Varangian Guard outnumbering the opponent, and it feels like Puppy Paw at this point. Not only is he getting the alien technology online, but he is getting those, look at those shields. He pops it and he says, let's go, baby. You want to see it? Berserking time. The Grenadiers trying their best to deal with the enemy. But now that I think about it, these guys do siege damage, don't they? Which means that you're not actually losing anything by popping your berserking against them. Grenadiers cleaning up house, though. Look at the amount of damage that's getting done to all these units. And now the bombard's getting chased away. Needs a mangonel. There's the mangonel. That'll deal with those Grenadiers. And this is part of what makes the Juicy Legacy so strong in the late game. It's the fact that they've got access to these Grenadiers without having to go into the Ming Dynasty. Ming Dynasty normally costing about 3,600 resources, but it's not going to cost that for you as Juicy's Legacy, because you only have to get that 1 Imperial Age landmark rather than going into, say, the 2 Imperial Age landmarks. So very, very nice here for him. The question is going to be whether he's got the gold to make it last. You can see he's somewhat suffering a little bit here at the moment, Beastie is. Let's check in with that gold and see how he's doing. He does have access to a trade post in the north. No market set up at the moment, just the university, but could look for a market in that western corner. Imperial officials just still sprinting around, and you can see that roller shutter trigger's coming in handy. As now all the Grenadiers going to be moving forward. They're going to be covered by the Varangian Guard, the Springolds. And you can see the numbers here, not looking the best for Beastie at the moment. Oh my lord, look at the Puppy Paw so far ahead. Is that the Palatine School right now? Is that the Palatine School that's just coming in so strong? Look at the amount of units that are... Oh, it's all Palatine School. Look at them go. All rallied towards that position. The Palatine School is ludicrous. Dude, I did not expect this. He's literally just making Varangian Guard and Siege. That's all he's got, and the occasional mercenary we see coming out. But how does he deal with the Varangian Guard? You can't go crossbow. This unit's ludicrous in the late game. Oh my god, I didn't expect this from the Byzantines, and now all of a sudden Beastie, he's losing out on the gold. He's got access to no other gold. This is all the gold you've got in the middle of the map. And now he's gone off the one safe gold he had, and good game gets called. Beastie tapping out against Puppy Paw. Wow, what a game coming out from Puppy Paw there, taking the game against arguably the best civilization, one of the best players with it. Fellas, make sure you go check out Fitzbro. I'll leave a link in the description of where you can watch his channel over on YouTube. He's got a lot of great casts. Go check him out, and I'll catch you in the next one.